Hey, it's Dave here from Tab and Slot, and today we're going to take a look at the assembly process of one of our new CertiFlat fab blocks. Okay, this is a 30-inch by 30-inch fab block. All of our standard fab blocks are 6 inches deep and have mounting surfaces on 6 sides. So you can configure these things numerous different ways and bolt them together. You get the idea. So by now you've received your fab block kit, and you'll notice that the quality of the edges and the precision of the fit is absolutely phenomenal. Okay, it's important to understand that these parts came off of a CNC laser. Often we don't think of a sheet laser or a tube laser as a CNC machine like we would a Haas mill or a big turning center or lathe. But the truth of the matter is, our published repeatability is 4/10 of a thousandth. Okay, so 4/10, that's 40% of 1/1000th of an inch. That's pretty tight. That's our repeatability. And we hold plus or minus 3/1000ths every single day on a lot of parts. So the idea behind the tab and slot philosophy and what makes our CertiFlat tables so incredibly stiff, strong, and flat is the use of tab and slot methodology, where we allow our extremely high precision, our high precision machine, our CNC laser, to do the work of setting the part flat and square. So if you understand that we want to let the laser do the work, then that kind of dictates our weld sequence a little bit. So let's take a look at how we put this together. Again, this is our 30 by 30 kit, and what we're actually going to do is flip this over. Now when I build these, what I do is I put them up on a workbench or on a pair of sawhorses or on top of a toolbox, but don't put it flat down on the table. What we want to do is put it up on a couple of 2x4s, okay? And let me just hide a few components here and get these out of the way so we can see what's going on here. So what you want to do, okay, the idea here is to put the heat where it can do no damage, okay? The first thing we want to do is build this structure and get it clamped to the top. So we're going to put the top down on the boards and build this upside down. Now, there's no mistaking how this stuff goes together. If I isolate these two parts, better yet, if I explode, let me do that for you here real quick. That'll be a little easier. So if I just move this rib up so we can see what's going on, you can see, I mean, this can only go together one way, and it's pretty obvious and logical. So what you're going to do, move that back down, is you're going to put these 4 pieces together and put them into the slots in the table, okay? Then you're going to put these 2 end pieces on, and then these 2 end pieces, okay? Now, what the goal here is to clamp all of these pieces that lie in the vertical plane tight to the tabletop, okay? Again, our precision is excellent on the laser. Sometimes there's a little burr, a little dirt that you may have to take a quick file and knock off, and what the goal is to make sure that there are no gaps anywhere. And the best way to do that is to take a flashlight on the other side, shine it down at the gap, and take a look. If you can see anything more than a trace of light under there, then you need to pull this back apart and look for a burr or a fit-up problem, okay? So the way we do this is we get some 7-inch long 3/8 carriage bolts, which are very cheap. You can buy them by the pound at the Tractor Supply. And we put them up from the bottom, and then we take a couple of strapping plates and we go across these 4 intersections, and then we put nuts on. So what I'm saying is we're going to put a bolt here in this hole and a bolt here in this hole, and then we come up alongside this. We put a strap across the X and tighten it down, because we don't have clamps that'll reach over there. Now, if you've already picked up some strong tools, you could actually just use those upside down here and screw one in there and use the pad right there and push down, okay? So what we want to do is get everything clamped to the table. Okay, the problem with that is this piece right here, because it's only tab and slotted onto these two things, it's not completely captured on any edges. If I just start clamping down on this, it's probably going to pop out here at the bottom. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to hold these two pieces tight to these two pieces. And the easiest way to do that is to take a piece or a couple of pieces of long threaded rod, put them right through there with nuts on both sides and tighten it down. Okay? Now you want to be as close to here as possible, so use like this hole and then like this hole for this one, or this hole is actually a little bit better because now you'd be between here and here, right? And the other thing you can do is you can put a couple of eye bolts through a couple holes and use a ratchet strap across the inside. If you have a bunch of pipe clamps, like woodworkers pipe clamps, you put those across the bottom. Okay? Everything's clamped to the top. The sides are pulled in tight against the ribs. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to come in here and you're going to put a little tack weld here, a little tack weld here, a little tack weld here, a little tack weld here. So we want this structure to be solid and clamped, but we don't want it attached to the top yet. From there, you're going to lay straight edges across the surfaces. Make sure it is in fact flat. You can still do all of this from the bottom. Lay your straight edges. If it's bowed down like this, right? Here, let me change views. If this is bowed down like this, then what you're going to want to do is put a block in the middle and thump it with a hammer, check it again, all before you weld it. And the idea would be to get it as flat as humanly possible before you weld. Okay? Once you've done that, it's flat, it's clamped, your sides are tacked really good to these pieces. Next, we want to tack these corners together. So what we'll do, right, because this is all tacked up, everything's in the table, we're clamped down tight still, we want to come in here and throw a tack in each one of these corners. Okay? Once we've got this entire structure tacked together, we're clamped to the table, we've done our light checks, we've done all of our light gap checks everywhere, it's good to go. We're sure it's good to go. Okay? The next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and plug in these corner pieces. Okay? Now, you probably are going to have to move a clamp. I should have said that, right? Maybe reposition your clamp. If they were here and here, you're going to need to move them from here and here, right, to get them out of the way. Also, not shown in this video, on these plates that are blue in the video right now, one corner has a large radius. Okay? That corner needs to go to the outside because these plates are not symmetrical. Okay? They can be installed backwards. So you need to check that. And what that does is, like I said, it's not shown here, but this corner will have a big radius in it. That just makes sure the whole pattern is set where it needs to be. Okay? So now we're going to put these four in. You're probably going to have to tap them in with a hammer. I don't want to say pound because you shouldn't have to pound them in, but you probably are going to have to tap them in. Okay? And you can see how once you have those in, the squareness is 100% set by the laser. Okay? The flatness is 100% set by the laser. So you're going to take these guys, do the same thing, find some way to clamp them to the top, right? So you're going to have this clamped to this and be squeezing all of this together. Okay? A couple of bolts up through the bottom, C-clamp over the top, whatever you want to do. And go ahead and let's tack these in. Tack, 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 tack. Okay? By the time you have all that tacked, and again, we're using our best practices. We're going to tack down in here so we don't have to grind. This thing is going to be so stiff and rigid, it's not even going to be funny. Okay? Real simple from here. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to come across here and we're going to weld the inside. Now, the way you do this is you're going to put like an inch right down the middle here, across this joint, so 1 inch, and then while it's hot, you immediately come around to the other side and do the same thing. Okay? Now, while this one's hot, before it's cooled, you move kitty corner and you do this one. Then you do this one, then you do this one. Okay? Once you have those welded, we are not, absolutely not, going to weld this rib to this top. We're not welding any of this ribbing to the top. You don't need to do that. You've still got your clamps on. Everything's clamped tight. Okay? From here, once you've got these welded up, what we're looking to do is firm up this structure. Okay? So now you're going to weld here. Then you're going to move to the other side of the table, do the same thing. Come back over here, do this. Move to the other side of the table, do this. And get these 4 sides firmly connected to this inner structure. I'm going to turn all this blue. Okay? So you want to get all of that connected. Once all of that's connected, now we're going to flip this over. With everything still clamped, we're going to check it one more time, because believe it or not, even with that structure welded, if you were to smack it with a hammer, you could move it 3/4 thousandths if you needed to. Check it, right? Now, we're going to start in the center, we're going to go kitty corner, work our way from the center out, and we're going to go tack, 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 until we have a tack in every slot. Again, stay down inside here. You won't have to do any grinding. Once these are tacked, okay, we can go ahead and start just finish welding. As soon as that's welded, we can go ahead and just start finish welding, okay? I usually do these last just to save me flipping it over one more time. The goal here is to put a weld down in this slot that hits all 3 surfaces in here, but does not come up above the top, so you don't have to grind. If you don't have to do it, why do it, okay? So if you're MIG welding, if you're wire feed welding, most of you are, aim your wire right down the center of the slot, start your puddle up against this face, and as soon as you have a puddle, move just enough to leave this slightly dished or undercut. Okay, and again, start from the center, go kitty corner, work your way out. Once that's done, flip it over for the last time, and go ahead and weld these guys up and use the same mentality. This goes corner to corner. You lay a beautiful little bead in here. You don't have to grind anything. This is our CertiFlat fabBlock 3030. We're very excited about these. You've got your kit in your hand, so you can tell the quality of the passion that we've put into this product. I know it's going to serve you well for a very long time. Hopefully you'll pass it down to your children and your grandchildren. If you take good care of it, that's very realistic. So again, enjoy. If you have any questions, you can always call or text us, or send us a picture via text if it's easier to explain the problem or the question, and you can do that by sending them to 651-800-4877. My name's Dave, and you can also reach us at admin@tabandslot, or on our Facebook page at facebook.com/tabandslot. And I hope you have a great day. Go weld something. Talk to you soon.